Stocks on the show then, and we've highlighted Wipro being one of them. That's the big boy that's come up with his results today. BHEL, Areva TND as well, and Biocon also came out with a set of numbers. A little bit disappointing coming out from them. Q1 consolidated PAT at 76.7 crores versus 57.5 crores. Karan Mazumdar is talking to the press right now. Let's cut in. All right, we will keep dipping into that. She's not yet begun speaking, but all right, she's talking now. Just to highlight the numbers yet again, the
maybe I'll just start and then you can ask me questions.
Yeah,
okay?
Give us an update of the results and how the margins have turned out.
Yeah. You know, I'm really delighted that we've been able to start this fiscal on a very strong note. As you can see, we have registered a top line of 672 crores, an EBITDA of 141 crores and a PAT of 77 crores at a consolidated level. What is important for me to really highlight is the fact that we have registered very significant growth over last year. We've seen income and our PAT margin, PAT go up by 33%. We've seen a good improvement in our EBITDA, and you can see that we've registered a growth of 27% at an EBITDA level. In terms of our head count, we are very rapidly approaching a head count of 5,000, which we think we will be at by the end of this calendar year. And what is, I think, very important for me to mention here is that our strong focus on our growth drivers, which we have shared with you, which are really about our generics and biosimilars, which is about our immunosuppressants, which is about our growth and increasing focus on emerging markets, our research services, and of course later on I think we will be able to unlock huge potential and value in our novel programs. So I think overall, I think we are very pleased to see this traction being maintained and sustained, because we've seen this traction beginning to appear earlier this year, and you can see that we ended last fiscal on a very, very strong note, and we are starting this fiscal again on a very strong note.
How are the margins panned out?
Well, margins have been maintained. I mean, you're seeing 21% margins, which really is at the same levels as what you saw last fiscal. When you include and exclude Axicorp, of course, the margins look very different. The margins without Axicorp are at that 30% levels, but with the Axicorp, it of course drops to 21%, but it has to be looked at it in context, because Axicorp, as you know, is a top line business, but even Axicorp has seen some interesting improvements in margin, but I think overall we are very, very pleased with the business.
What about your forex loss ratios? How are
Forex, I think, is something that we need to look at on an annualized basis. I think, you will see an up one quarter, down one quarter. It's all about tracking the movement of the rupee against the dollar, but we have actually hedged most of our important exposures, and I don't think you're going to see much of an impact on an annualized basis.
How have the contract research revenues panned out, and what kind of increase are you seeing this quarter?
Well, you can see that our research services business also have increased on a year-on-year basis. I mean, on a total level, we have seen this business increase by 15%. Syngene's business has increased at a top line much stronger. It's about 25%. But I think we are building this research services business. We are trying to get into new business offerings, which initially will have an impact on its profits. But I think overall, long term, this is going to deliver very high value for us. Again, at Clinigene, we are seeing a change of leadership there. We are also trying to make sure that Clinigene does not become a commoditized business, because I think the clinical services business can become a very commoditized business. Again, we are trying to refocus our strategies there to make sure that we continue to really focus on high value services rather than just commodity services. So,
Alright, that is Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw talking about the numbers of Biocon, talking about how they are increasing focus on emerging markets as well as trying to get into new business offerings, as well as the margin picture. The 21% was the kind of margin picture, including Axicorp. With Axicorp, the margin pictures was higher, close to around 30%. But Biocon, that's the stock right now. The markets are disappointed because the numbers did come out below analyst estimates, 1.6% down for Biocon. In fact, we're just getting a first on ET now with Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. Our correspondent Shruti is in conversation with her.
Our immunosuppressants business, our insulins, our domestic branded formulations business, all have been very strong contributors of this quarter's growth.
Ma'am, could you also tell us, are we seeing raw material costs, etc., going up? Is that a cause of concern, or is it likely to be a cause of concern in the quarters to come?
We believe that we are really looking at cost control in every possible way. So I don't think that's going to be a concern in any way.
Could you also give us an update on your tacrolimus plans?
Well, tacrolimus is one of the growth contributors, and I think it will be a very strong growth contributors going forward, because both tacrolimus and mycophenolate mofetil as immunosuppressants, these are becoming large global opportunities for Biocon, because we're one of the few players in this field, given that immunosuppressants is not a crowded space, and therefore being one of the few suppliers of these products to global markets, and the fact that these have gone off patent and are going off patent in many of the larger markets in the near future gives us very large opportunities of growth.
Ma'am, could you talk to us? There have been a lot of reports about your plans to enter the eye care segment. Is that part of your plans, and really, if they are, what are the plans there?
Yes, this is based on a group of products, the prostaglandins, and therefore we do want to get into eye care, and this kind of fits also with our diabetes strategy, where glaucoma and the whole retinopathy aspects are also quite related. So we do want to get into not just eye care, but this quarter we are also going to announce, we've also announced the setting up of 2 new divisions, which is our dermatology division and our immunotherapy division, which is really for autoimmune diseases. We're trying to prepare for our market entry, because as you know, we have a very important monoclonal antibody, the anti-CD6 antibody, which is rapidly making progress, and as you know, we are at this point in time conducting phase 3 clinical trials for market registration in India for psoriasis. So dermatology becomes a very important opportunity for us. We're also going to set up a critical care division because we believe we are going to be focusing many of our products which actually lend themselves for critical care in terms of a focused approach. So we are setting up a separate division for that. So whether you look at sort of the very late stage complications that set in terms of either diabetology, in terms of either diabetes or kidney disease or cardiac care, there are sort of pretty specialized needs in critical care, and therefore we believe that many of our products lend themselves in that area, oncology being certainly one of them.
So by when could we see a market entry in these 3 segments? Any kind of timeline that you can share with us?
Yes, we do expect to start these divisions in the next 2 quarters.
And ma'am, could you also give us an update on your IPO plans as well as your oral insulin, any update there?
Well, in terms of, you mean you're talking about the Syngene listing. Well, that's something, as you know, we are focused on, and of course we need to ensure that we have the timing right. We are, we want to ensure that we create maximum shareholder value. So, we are preparing towards that particular event, and we remain committed to that.
You were talking about getting regulatory approvals in Europe. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Well, all I can share with you at this point in time is that we have got regulatory approval to start phase 3 clinical trials for registration for our human insulin, and that's a big milestone for us. So, patient recruitment is going to start very fast. So basically our, initial phase 1 clinical data has been accepted by the regulatory authorities in Europe, in Germany, and this therefore then has allowed them to this has actually then allowed them to give us permission to start the phase 3 trials.
Alright, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw there talking to our correspondent Shruti about various opportunities that the company is looking at, eye care being one of them, and also several divisions that she spoke about included dermatology, immunotherapy division, critical care division, all of which they expect to start off in the next 2 quarters. That's Biocon for you in trade, not doing too much, down about 2.5%. We'll tell you what, slip into a very quick break, a whole host of other queries. Alright, on to the next query, and that is that of Biocon. We've got an email here. Pratik has sent us an email from Bangalore saying that he holds 100 shares of Biocon at a price of 202, and he wants to know whether he should book profits now or wait for another 3 months. So he is making a good amount of money on the kind of investment he's made. Another 3 months is the kind of outlook that he wants in this one. 323 is where Biocon is currently placed. Though the numbers have disappointed, still it is look forward to. The company itself and the management itself has given us a promising guidance in terms of the business outlook as well as the kind of divisions that they want to start up with coming forward into the next 2 quarters. But we'll get in a perspective as to where exactly this can move in the next 1 quarter. Avni, what's your take? The management is pretty positive on the business. The next 3 to 6 months, where do you see Biocon headed?
Biocon at this point in time is definitely a hold. We have a first price target of 340 in Biocon. If you look at the ratios which are there for Biocon, it's currently trading at a PE of around 20 at this price levels, and if you look at the return on equity as well as return on capital employed, that is around 17 to 17%, and if you look at the price to book value ratio, it's currently trading at 3.1. So at these levels, it's properly priced. That is what we feel, and definitely Biocon is a hold at this point in time. And I would also like to congratulate him to accumulate such a good portfolio stock, Biocon. And we have a first price target of 340 on Biocon with a time horizon of 3 months.
340 in a time period of 3 months. That's what you can expect, Pratik, and a hearty congratulations on that investment. But Hemain, coming to you for a perspective on the charts, if you could tell us, we are seeing a bit of a downtick, but overall over the past 1 year there has been an upward momentum. Do you think we're going to see a breach in trend line, especially because of the kind of results clocked in?
It doesn't look like, Aman, because it has been sluggish for some time, and after 3.5 weeks we've sort of it's poked its head upward out of the water, so to speak. Stock looks good. I would have a hold on the stock, a medium-term target of 349. One small thing to point out, Avan, we haven't closed above 332 on the monthly chart even once since the listing. So if we take out 332, I think 349 would be a more of a near-term stop or a medium-term stop. I think one can expect a price target of maybe 380 or more over the longer term. So I would have a hold on the stock.
Alright, that's the call coming in. 349 is the kind of target that you can expect on Biocon.
On that note then, a short break we need to head into, but more other stocks to be discussed on the other side. We will be talking about Torrent Power as well as Pidilite on the other side. But meanwhile,